It's been quite the year for Sony. They started off strong with the release of the A9 III with its world-first implementation of a global shutter in a stills camera, and followed that up with several excellent lenses like the 300mm f2.8 G Master, 85mm f1.2 G Master II, and of course today's topic, the A1 II and the all-new 28-70 f2 G Master. But just a quick disclaimer, this is a first look and thoughts video as the camera I was given had pre-launch software and I couldn't edit the raw photos. So the results you'll see are all JPEGs. Sony has taken practically every feature they've developed over the last couple years for their Alpha series cameras and packed it into the A1 II, making it one of the most feature-rich cameras they've ever made. In addition to that, they've also updated the outer housing of the A1 II to match that of the A9 III, including that new C5 button on the front of the camera. So with that said, let's get into it. I didn't have that much time with the A1 II and the 28-70mm, but the time that I did have, they made a pretty killer combo. Though the 28-70mm is a large lens, it is surprisingly light, coming in at 918 grams, and it doesn't make the camera feel unbalanced when it's fully extended. The only thing I didn't like about the lens is that it's a 28-70 and not a 24-70. Losing that extra 4mm is actually pretty noticeable, and when I was shooting photos of the Scarborough Bluffs, I did get a little bit frustrated that I wasn't able to get quite as much as I wanted to in frame. It does make sense for weight and size purposes that this lens is a 28-70 and not a 24-70, so this is a pretty nitpicky complaint, but I'm not totally convinced that that extra 1.3 stops of light outweighs the value of having that extra 4mm of wideness in your lens. But if you are shooting in relatively low light very regularly, say like shooting events, then that extra 1.3 stops of light could be more valuable to you. If you saw my A9 III video, you'll already know how much I like the updated design Sony's rolling out, so no complaints about the body design. My only gripe is the viewfinder's diopter. It seems to not have as much adjustability as the A9 III had. I'm not really sure what the reasoning for that is with the A1 II, but I wasn't able to get it anywhere close to in focus when not wearing glasses, which for me is a major issue heading into winter as my glasses are definitely going to be fogged up 99% of the time. Luckily, the tilt flip screen is a solid backup to the viewfinder. Getting awkward low and high angle shots has never been easier. The ergonomics of this camera really are solid. All the button placements and sizings make sense and are easy to reach. The A1 II is not quite on the level of comfortability as the Canon R1, as that has the battery grip built in, but as far as Sony cameras go right out of the box, it's about their most comfortable they've ever made. Being Sony's new flagship camera, the A1 II is not only great as a stills camera, it's also one of Sony's best video cameras. It can do up to 4K 120 and 23.98 8K. It has all the latest subject tracking software, focus breathing, and a really interesting feature I haven't seen before, shot marks. I can see shot marks being a really useful feature that I use a lot in the future, and for those who deliver both photo and videos to their clients. When shooting in 8K in comparison to the A7R V, I'd say that they have improved the rolling the shutter effect quite a lot. I would like to test it a bit more, but from the quick tests that I did, the vertical lines look a lot less like noodles when you're doing a side-to-side pan. Even when shooting JPEGs, the results come out sharp and have a decent amount of color information. Of course, the lens that you shoot with does help with the sharpness, but to really drive home this point, here are some before and afters of photos I took. Here you can see I was able to heavily manipulate these photos without much issue, so this is great if you are shooting for someone who doesn't really want to deal with the extra data that comes with raw photos. Having a camera that gives you more options in post is so valuable. In this case, being able to heavily crop and maintain quality. The 28-70mm is by no means a macro lens with its minimum focus distance of 1.25 feet, but because the A1 II has a 50 megapixel sensor, cropping is much more forgiving. In these Hot Wheels car shots, the amount of cropping is kind of extreme. So in no way was this a comprehensive, thorough testing of the A1 II and 28-70mm, but I think from this video you can see that it's no surprise that they are Sony's current flagship camera and lens. Well, that's all I've got to say for now. For everything Sony and more, head to vistek.ca. See you next time. Bye.